Ichiban Kuji, like Banpresto Game Prize figures. These are the other two that I was missing from my set. This is F and D. Now I had B, C, and E already, so now I have all 5 girls, thankfully, but wanted to get that one wrapped up quick, and I'll go ahead and put these together here in a second and kind of show you what there is to these. But then also one other pickup that came with these was this 1:4 scale figure of Kyon's sister, the bunny girl version. Now I picked this one up really, really cheap. I mean, I'm talking like $25 cheap from Ami Ami. Supposedly, it said there's some discoloration on one of the arms of the figure, so this is one definitely that has been used as far as taken out of the box before and probably displayed. So we'll kind of see, open this one up too and kind of find out exactly how good or bad that this discoloration is, and if it is kind of bad, maybe we can get it fixed somehow, maybe a little paint, who knows, but we'll take that one out of the box as well and find out what she looks like here. So back in a little bit. So here's a quick glimpse of the Ichiban Kuji stages, one with Kyoko and one with Homura. And the Kyoko one is kind of minimalist, as it's just her, and they have a little bag of apples that is mounted to the stand for that one as well. Whereas over with the Homura figure, you see they also included a school desk and chair, which are independent pieces of her. But otherwise, yeah, that's everything for those. Really cool, and now I'm glad to have all 5 of the character figures with the stages. And nice to have those in the collection and finally completed. Now let me go ahead and move over to the one for Kyon's little sister. As I mentioned before in the video, the listing on Ami Ami mentioned something about discoloration on one of the arms. Now I don't actually, on close inspection, see any discoloration on the arms. Where I notice it on the figure is actually on her collar here, and it doesn't pick up very well, obviously because of the camera and having the flash on right now, but the white collar is actually somewhat dingy on here. Now, to be honest, that's hardly any kind of distraction, really. I mean, you have to get up pretty close and have the right kind of light to really notice it. So for me to get this for 25 bucks, I think that's great. And, you know, I might try taking a Q-tip and a little cleaner. Now, obviously, you're not going to use anything astringent like an alcohol or something that could possibly take the paint off of this, but nothing says we might try to take a little just soap and water and try to clean up that collar just a little bit on her. But otherwise, it's a very cute figure, and the head is also free turning, so you can kind of pose her to look in any different direction that you'd like. And then they also give an option to switch out the hands. So actually, this is, I've already switched it out from how it was in the box. She's sitting here showing the peace sign, but there is one other hand swap I will show you. I'll go ahead and take that off here, and we'll put on the other hand option that was on when I received this in the box. Now, for myself, I think I'm going to go ahead and go with the peace sign. But like I said, this one was only like 25 bucks, and that's, to me, is like phenomenal for a, especially for a 1:4 size figure. So, now, what this is a soft vinyl figure of Kyubey that also comes along with a grief seed and a soul gem. Now, this was originally released back in December of 2011, so over 4 years old now. I will say this, though, the price of the item has increased rather significantly from when it was originally released, especially if you want to get this one in pretty much pristine, rather new condition. This is pre-owned, of course, from Ami Ami, but you know, going by the grading, most likely this one probably hasn't been opened or displayed yet, which is cool. But on the reverse side, of course, that means it costs a lot more as well. But yeah, the original release price on this, I believe, was around $4,000 to $5,000. I think it was about $5,000. There's no game. So let's see here. Go ahead and dig through, and this is going to be a pretty good size one, I believe. Such large boxes for these. Okay. And there's a couple more in here too. I'm going to go ahead and take them out and set those aside. And we'll set the box aside. And let's get to everything here. Alright, so as I mentioned before, here we have from Good Smile. This is the soft vinyl Cube figure that also comes with the pink soul gem here, as well as a grief seed for display. And yeah, this is a pretty good size, all right. Now I believe the dimensions are something like 11 to 11.5 inches by about 4, maybe 4.5. I tried to look it up on the website, and unfortunately now the relisting that I see doesn't actually show anything more than it says like 15 centimeters. So that doesn't really tell me much about the dimensions, but just kind of showing you off the box here. And very nice box. I love the cutouts, so you can see the figure in the different locations. And there's the top of the box. But yeah, as I mentioned, the original seals have not been spliced yet. So other than a little bit of damage on the box, if they want to call this damage, very slightly cosmetic, this is in fabulous shape. So I would say no wonder it fetches about twice the original price that it was released at 4 years ago. I did see a C grade one of this going for like 75. Is it 7,500 or 75,000? 7,500. Yeah, 75,000 would be like 700 some dollars. So, but all right. Anyway, that's kind of a quick look at the box here. We'll go ahead and get the figure out, and I'll be back in a little bit to show you a bit more detail on Cube here. Okay, so I'm kind of having a moment here. Now, I have no problems with the figure itself. The figure is awesome. Now, this is huge, but as I mentioned, soft vinyl. Now, it's not like squeezably soft or anything. It's got a fairly hard shell on it, but this is a very good representation of Cube, and nice size too. You could almost say maybe it's pretty darn close to 1-to-1 scale. I'm not sure, but very well done. I love the paint on it. And yeah, I do like that. Now here's where I run into my issue, though. The Grief Seed and the Soul Gem are also apparently made of the same material. Now, I won't have any problem displaying the Soul Gem here, obviously, and fairly nicely done. The kind of pliable top here is kind of weird, but you know, I can still display this. I have no problem displaying this. But here is where I run into the issue, and that's with the Grief Seed, because it's also made with the same soft vinyl. And the picture on the website shows it standing up, you know, this way, as it should. And I thought, okay, well, maybe there's some kind of little clear plastic thing that gets included so you can do that. Well, even if they did, here's the problem. Yeah, this is, the bottom of it is made with the soft material as well. There is no way that you can display this properly standing up. No, it's just not going to work because of the soft material. So, same with the top too. Look how pliable that is. So that's a minus on this one, I would say. Good Smile, overall, he did fairly well in this release, but I question the Grief Seed here. Because there's just, I mean, the only possible way to try and display this would be to tie like a very, very thin, maybe a thread around the top of it and try to have it hang, you know, this way. Because I can't see displaying a Grief Seed just laying down like that. It just doesn't work. So You know, overall, I like this release. That just cosmetically, that just doesn't seem right to me. All right, now I have a couple more that I completely forgot about that I'm going to get to next. So back here in just a little bit. So along with the Cube figure, I decided to pick up these two as well. Pre-owned also, these are two Sega prize figures for the disappearance of Yuki Nagato-chan. Now, it's kind of funny because these actually come from one of the first scenes out of the first episode of the anime. And of course, we're missing one character, which I'm guessing they don't sell because I haven't found a listing for it, but there's no Kyon, as seems to be usual here. They only have the female characters. And it's too bad because you kind of need Kyon in the scene that this comes from. You'll note with the Asakara figure that there are two signs as well. Well, kind of in this, let me kind of set this up. Somehow, after, well, basically after they're having lunch, or dinner I should say, Asakara spills something on Yuki, and basically goes over and tries to take her shirt off quick to throw it in the laundry. And of course, Kyon gets a peek of her bra and stomach. And so in this scene, Yuki kind of asks, "Did you like what you see?" Well, Kyon's kind of at a loss for words, so of course, Asakura to the rescue with her two signs. The one on the right of her basically saying that what Kyon saw was hot, especially a specific part of her body, and the one on the left of her basically, Kyon kind of accidentally mentions, well, he gets it, "Hey, I'm not a stomach fetishist or anything," and she basically holds the second one up kind of after that saying, "Yeah, you put your foot in your mouth there, boy." So, yeah, kind of funny, but cute that they included both of those. Plus quite a few of the things from the laundry scene as well. I mean, maybe that's a little bit excessive. You got the laundry machine, you got all sorts of detergents and the fabric softener with the little misspellings, laundry basket, all that good stuff, and a shelf to put them on. So, yeah, it's too bad there's not a Kyon available. Now, I would like to eventually try to pick up a few more Kyon figures because, I mean, obviously, if you watch the anime, Kyon is, depending, either the main character or, at times, behind Haruhi Suzumiya, of course, the title character of the show. But, yeah, these are only like 1,000 yen a piece, so it's just kind of funny to pick those up quick because I really did love the anime, and I'm excited for when Funimation will get around to releasing the North American version of it, and curious to see. It sounds like that they will try to assemble the original English language cast that did the Bandai dub, so I'm kind of excited to see how that turns out. And okay, so here's kind of a temporary setup for the time being, but the boxes on the inside each had like, I'm not going to say, I shouldn't say half of the room, but maybe like 1/3. Anyway, you can kind of see it's two pieces here. Now, unfortunately, as it's a very flimsy cardboard, it does not stand up very well, and a lot of it isn't very straight either. So when the time comes when I'm able to like find and make a permanent display for this, I think what I'll end up doing is gluing the cardboard backdrop to more of a heavier like cardstock or cardboard for more of a permanent display and something that will stand up a little bit better and be a little bit straighter and nicer, but it works for right now just for the purpose of temporarily displaying them where I have them set up. But kind of neat that they did it this way, and the inclusion of the room. Now,
Of course, this is not how the room is actually laid out if you've seen the anime, because the door would actually be across from the washing machine, not to the right of it as I have now. But again, as I mentioned, it's just kind of cool to have this set up and display it for the time being, get a couple pictures of it until the time comes when I can make more of a permanent display when I have a better spot to put it. One thing I want to point out with the box on the right here is that even though it says assorted 6 set, there are only 5 in there, as there are just 5 in the series. But of course, this would be one of those little blind boxes that most of the time you would purchase, and you know, you're not really sure which character that you'd be getting inside. So it's possible you could be paying quite a bit to get the collection of 5. So I just find it's better to go ahead and pay a certain amount for the ones that have been pre-opened to make sure that you're getting the 5 that you want. Because especially, you know, somebody like me who's importing these over, I don't want to pay way too much to get all of these, and then, you know, constantly pay so much, and the disappointment of getting one that I've already had and trying to sell it and blah 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 blah. But yeah, so let's go ahead and kind of take a quick look at the boxes here first before anything else and getting into them. But quick look to see, you know, it's not like you can really make out too much of this, because for the most part a lot of kanji on the box here. So as usual, duh, not much English, but kind of let you see the back of this one as well. Just quick directions on how to put the figure together, and all the characters of the game. And we're getting closer and closer to having everyone here. Looking at this, I think I maybe only need 2 more figures, I think. Yeah, I think so. I'm only missing 2 male figures. Kirito, and no idea who that is right now. But yeah, this is, as I mentioned, this is one of the first male characters I've been able to pick up so far. So I think that only, again, leaves me with the other 2, unless they are releasing the 2 characters from the Virtual Fighter series, Jackie and the other assistant lady. I can't think of her name right now either, but yeah, okay, let me go ahead and get all these together here. Just a little bit, I'll be back with you. So okay, so here we have everybody all put together, and I do have to say, like, with these mini Nendoroid petite type characters, it's amazing the amount of detail they go into as far as even posability, and the fact that all of their arms are posable, their heads are like jointed twice to where you can swivel the head left or right, up and down. For something just so absolutely small to put that kind of detail in. I mean, you go to Sayaka and that ball that she's like trying to volleyball type serve or whatever, it's like a little pea almost. I mean, it's a little green pea that you have to balance on her hands to that pose. It's almost like ludicrous, but at the same time still very cool. I mean, it makes it worth the fact that you're paying like $10 a piece for each of these little tiny figures. And what more can I say? I mean, they're really neat. I'm glad I was able to pick these up. I think there is, going by the boxes, the little boxes that they came in, there is more than likely a second set of these out there with alternative outfits that I may keep an eye on for down the road and possibly try to pick up. But okay, that'll do it for these. Let me go ahead and get to the 4 Leaves figure next. Okay, so once again, if you've stuck around this long, this is the 4 Leaves Tony's Heroine collection, Innocent Fairy Farisia, 1:6 scale complete figure. Now, I've had a chance to do a little bit of digging here, and you know, sometimes you end up on the hentai side of the internet without realizing it, and I did finally find information about this series. So it mentions here on my anime list, Tony's Heroine series, Kanojo wa Hananome Kohosei, Cinderella Collection. It says here that Shinji's parents have died in an accident years ago, and he's grown up in an orphanage. And years later, he gets approached by a maid with the name Zero, who claims that Shinji's father was the only son of a millionaire. His grandfather now intends Shinji to inherit his business, but Shinji doesn't feel much for inheriting a company from a person he doesn't really know, especially since he has his own plans for his life and wants to marry his childhood friend Sei. Let's see, there's only a slight drawback though. Grandfather won't take no for an answer. He did leave an opt-out option though, that Shinji, if he finds a girl with a certain birthmark, he will be given his freedom and won't have to inherit and lead the company. But the catch is the birthmark will only appear, surprise, surprise, after the girl climaxes. How will Shinji manage to get out of this deal while still staying true to his childhood love? Okay, so I guess this also has the alternative title of Candidate for Bride, but according to this, it's an OVA with 2 episodes that aired October 25th, 2009 and January 15, 2010. 30 minutes per episode, rating hentai. Well, if you couldn't guess by that synopsis, that he basically has to make the girl come to make the birthmark appear. Yeah, you know, I'm actually rather intrigued, though. I kind of want to look around and see if I can find this series somewhere out there on the internet. You know, there's always some subgroup out there that looks into subtitling hentai titles, and I try, for the most part, to stay away from stuff that has been fan-subbed, but occasionally, of course, when there is no legitimate release available that is subtitled, you know, do what you gotta do, and that material is out there. But, so, yeah, I guess I've looked and seen, I think there's like 3 or 4 other figures in this series as well. I don't know that I'm going to go crazy to try and track them all down. Once again, you know, I went for this one just based on just the absolute cool butterfly wings, and Ami posted it on Facebook, and I'm just like, that is really freaking cool. I gotta have it. But enough about that. Enough blah blah blah. Let's go ahead and get into the box here and get the character out and take a closer look at the figure itself. Okay, so my apologies. I just realized after I got everything taken out of the box and I got the figure all put together that I forgot to show the box. Although I will say this, you weren't really missing much, but you know, before we take a look at the figure, then of course I'm going to go ahead and show you here that, yeah, on the side really not much to see other than it does have the 4 leaves and mention Kotobukiya and the product figure on the bottom here. And pretty much the same thing on the opposite side as well. And on the back we do have one more picture of the finished product, again mentioning down here too the Tony's Heroine collection and 4 leaves Kotobukiya. So as I said, not much exciting there, but I'm like, yeah, I kind of forgot to show you that. And the top of the box too, this is kind of cool that you can see in, and another picture of the product there on the top. And yeah, that's about it. Bottom of the box kind of has the quick description of everything. Of course, pretty much all in kanji, so 14 years and over. And not the 3 sad onions. Well, I doubt if you're buying this, you're going to be giving it to your child that is under 3, let alone under 5, 7, maybe 9, 11, who knows. But, alright, let's go ahead and get the figure out here for you. Alright, there she is, and I will say, rather striking figure.
I'll bring her in a little bit closer here so you can kind of see some of the detail on the wings. Get the camera to focus. And then the antennae in the top, there are actually two sets of those. So, you know, if you lose one or the other, of course, thank goodness, you can replace them quick. I'll let you see kind of the transparency of the dress here as well. And we'll turn to the back also and make sure you get a better view of the wings and the hansu that don't quite cover everything there. But and then the interesting to me here too, the base that this comes on, the center part of this actually pulls out like this and just leaves the grass in an empty spot. And there are directions in here that show that you can turn this the opposite direction this way, and if you want to put in some fake flowers, or God forbid if you'd actually want to try to plant something small in there too, you might be able to pull it off, but I think you'd be better off, of course, going with something non-living. But yeah, the figure fits in that way, and then you can actually display her with some flowers around the bottom as well, which I think is a really cool touch and something I may look into doing someday. But as it stands right now, I'm perfectly fine with having it in this way. But overall, I think this was an awesome figure to pick up. And over time, as I get things paid off, I may look to get a couple more in the collection. But as it stands right now, I'm going to go ahead and stick with just this one, because I've got a few others coming up in the short term that still have to figure out how to get those paid for as well. But once again, very cool, and I think that is going to go ahead and wrap things up for this video today. My apologies for this taking so long to put together, although you're going to see everything pretty much in one video. All of this was shot and pieced together over the last 5 or 6 weeks probably, as I've had bits of time here and there to get this all done. And again, I apologize, but kind of did make a job change during the time also, and was promoted again at work up to the corporate office. So that extra drive time and extra responsibilities kind of takes away what little free time that I actually do have every day, considering it takes me an hour just to drive to work in the morning and an hour to drive back. But if you made it through this whole video, which I do apologize, I realize going to be close to half an hour long. I didn't mean for it to get that way, but that is going to wrap up, at least as far as pickups for the figures for the month of April, and also now the month of May. So thanks guys for tuning in, and as I have time, I will try to put together a anime pickups video here as well, because I have another title actually arriving hopefully on Monday, which is, I think, June 6th? Yeah, I think June 6th of 2016. So it's a limited edition that I was pretty happy to double dip on. I already own the first limited edition release, but we'll go ahead and mesh that together along with the other pickups I had recently from Right Stuff, and a couple more goodies from the past 2 months. Anyway, once again, thanks guys for tuning in for the video, and we'll see you again here soon.